Obviously, it was a great year for the league last year. We felt like we competed, but didn't get the job done, most nights. But it's a great league, and it's very well run. I love the fact that the tournament's here in the Northeast in the Barclays Center. It's great recruiting exposure. A lot of good things about this league. It's a great opportunity for everybody in this league.
Was it what you expected first year?
I mean, honestly, it was probably a little more than I expected. I mean, you look at the history of the league, and I don't think they've ever had a year where they got 6 teams. But I think that also says that it suggests there's a change in the college basketball landscape. There's an open for a league in the Northeast to establish itself as the premier league. So why not us?
What'd you learn about your guys as kind of the course of the conference went on?
Our young guys really showed me a lot. Marquise Moore and Jalen Jenkins in particular. I thought they were very, very competitive. They showed me that they are, they're guys that can compete in this league.
I know you haven't had necessarily a whole lot of time with him yet, but Jalen in year 2, just thoughts and how he's progressed.
There have been some times I've had to remind him that he can't make the all-rookie team again. It seems like he's resting low sometimes. So, but he's very, very talented. I think you'll see him do more in terms of going off the dribble, bringing the ball in transition. He's a very good passer, excellent rebounder, finishes around the rim. The 2 things I want to see him do a better job are, taking care of the ball and making decisions, because I think he's a very good passer, but sometimes he gets careless with it, and improve his outside shooting. And something he's worked hard on this all season.
And looking at your non-conference, seems like you're challenging your guys.
Yeah, we've done it every year.
Right away.
Yeah, we've done it every year. We've played a very, very competitive non-conference schedule. Coach Raveling always asks me why I'm doing that, but he said usually guys that play that kind of schedule end up being night managers someplace, So, but no, we're going to keep playing it.
You've been
No, you're good.
You've been in a lot of places conference-wise. Just I guess observations of the A10 compared to being some of the other stops.
Well-run league. I think when you have a commissioner like Bernadette, who's she's got great vision, and I don't know, you mean it in a negative way, but she can be forceful sometimes in trying to get her point across. You guys know, all right? So you understand. And I think that's good, especially, again, given the landscape of college sports and the opportunities that exist out there for a league like the Atlanta 10.
Paul, you always saw it from afar. I know you talked last week. You used to call it the Atlantic One.
Yeah. Steak sauce conference. A1.
When it was Temple and the rest of the league. Was it even better than you thought it was going to be last year?
Yeah. I mean, we played St. Joe's early, and we played VCU. We were familiar with them because we had played them a couple years ago, so we knew they were going to be good. And then to play St. Joe's, the second league game, and see Hannah Savage and Galloway and Roberts. And, those 3 guys were monsters. We were in the game, and then it's almost like the last 5 minutes they just said, "Okay, guys, get all the kiddies out the pool, let's go." And they just, they took over. And I wasn't surprised to see them win the league. But then, the job that Mark does at Bonaventure, the guys he had some big physical guys. They run a lot of sets. Just up and down the league was very, very competitive. So it probably was a little more than I expected.
For your team, all the close losses, how do you translate them into wins of some sort the next year?
You have a lot of...
You've had teams that have had years like that, right?
Yeah.
Quite goes right at the end.
Yeah, you have a lot of fodder to remind them of what they have to work on. We had one situation in practice earlier this week, and I didn't think a guy was cutting as hard as he should, or he just wasn't playing with the proper intensity. I stopped him. I said, "Look, you obviously know that this sequence we're working on here is not important." I said, "If you know how the season's going to end and what's important," I said, "I'll stop everything else and we'll just work on that one thing, okay?" So it just reminds me that you can't take any situation for granted, whether it's practice, game, you got to prepare for everything.
You mentioned all those guys with St. Joe's. When you look at a guy that's coming back in his second year, like a DeAndre Bembry, what do you see? What did you see a year ago?
Obviously, talented player, confident kid from what I could see. And when you have that type of confidence, again, from where I sit, he's a very confident kid. He will look at this opportunity as a chance to, okay, this is my turn now. And I know they've got some good young guys in it, coming in that freshman class. Demery, from Charlotte. We watch him a little bit on the recruiting circuit. So I think a guy like that will seize the opportunity and really step up and expand his game, improve his numbers.
Change the way you prepare for him because his role changes?
We'll see how it goes. You got to watch the tape. I mean, I know he's a guy that can score in a lot of different ways. And again, he's a big, strong kid. It's going to be hard to wear him down, but you'll see how as you start to get the tapes and see what they're trying to do with him, how they're playing.
By the way, Phil is aware that you guys are in the same league this year, right at the beginning.
I saw him on the subway platform. I was like, "Hey, where you going?" He looked at me, he's like, "I can't repeat what he called me, but
The subway over here?
yeah."
Did anybody
Come on, man.
anybody recognize you?
They wouldn't care. It's New York.
Nobody, anybody recognize you on the train?
Phil and I were in a deep conversation, so maybe they did. Probably somebody I owe money to. They were going to ask me.
What do you think it's done for the conference having the tournament here the last couple of years?
No, it's. I know it's helped recruiting. This whole Northeast corridor, Philly, New York. You do a lot of recruiting in this area, and then the fact that the game is on Sunday at CBS. I know a lot of leagues are going away from playing those Sunday games in preparation for the NCAA tournament, but I think where we are, the publicity that we get on that Sunday afternoon, I think it's a 1 o'clock tip, does a lot. Unfortunately, I was out recruiting last year. I was walking through the airport and I saw the game on TV, so I sat at a bar and watched some of it. So hopefully I won't be in that airport this year.
The league added a new team this year in Davidson.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with them just because you're one of the more southern schools in this conference?
Well, the way I'm familiar with it makes me feel really old because I was an assistant coach at Westbury High School in Long Island when Bob was the head coach at Long Island Lutheran. And I remember Tom Cora was on his staff, and I'm sitting there going like, man. So, I mean, he's a great coach. He's somebody that I think this league should be really proud to have. Especially the tournament here, the fact that everybody in New York knows who he is and all the success he's had. People in New York still remember him from Long Island Lutheran. I mean, the New Yorkers are always going to claim him, and the fact that he coached a guy like Steph Curry, and it just brings another level of awareness to people, for people out there, for the general public about the Atlantic 10.
Are you happy personally that the league has added another team that's a little further south?
It doesn't matter. I mean, I think we all should be always aware of geographics when it comes to travel and student athlete welfare and academics, especially with 2-semester sport and midweek games. So I think it's good, but just overall health of the league, I think it's a great addition.
Paul, who are some of your young guys that you look at in terms of your incoming freshman class, and you say, you know what, I know what I'm going to get from him. I know I may not necessarily count on,
get from him.
but I think I might get this, or I think I might get that.
We've got a kid named Eric Lockett who's coming off of a quad surgery. He's been out for a little while. He had the surgery in April. He just started going full tilt earlier this week, late last week, I'm sorry, and looks good. Really good passer. We have another young man, Isaiah Jackson from Florida, from Gainesville. Big guard, can really pass it, versatile. We've got some guys that think can help us. We've got some guys that can help us. I think it's more still about Eric Copes, Marquise Moore, Jalen Jenkins. The one guy it's interesting, people are really overlooking, and I'm hoping I'm right and they're wrong, is Julian Royal, the kid that transferred from Georgia Tech. He can really score. He came in at about 245. He's probably down to about 228 right now, and looks good. Can really score. Flat out the best scorer, inside scorer on our team. Patrick Holloway is another guy I think people kind of overlooked. When we went to Spain, he averaged 18 points a game. But we still got a lot to prove. I mean, people should overlook us the year we had. But I think those two kids in particular, I think it's more about them than a freshman.